Good evening. It's March 20th, 2016, and this is the Drive Check Podcast. This is episode 1 of the Drive Check Podcast, a Cardfight Vanguard podcast for the casual player. My name is William Anderson. I am coming to you from my previous experience as a contributor to the It's Super Effective Pokemon podcast. I play Vanguard very casually and only for fun, but not knowing very much about the game, I want to learn more, and I was hoping to contribute to this podcast to talk to some more people who know more about the game and can help me find out more, but also to share that knowledge with the rest of the world. So with me tonight, I have Cole.
Hello.
All right, Cole, say something about yourself. Who are you? Why are you doing this?
I don't know. I'm very new. I'm very new to Vanguard. Like, I started playing probably 4 months ago, really? Maybe a bit longer.
And yet you're still more knowledgeable than I am.
Maybe. You started, but then you stopped. Then you got back into it.
I did play from about 2012 to 2014. So that was more in the United States, like the original Vanguard stuff. It was before Link Jokers came introduced, and it was right before the Legion mechanic became introduced. I was kind of getting out when Aqua Force started to exist as a clan. All right, and Cole, what is your ambition in life? What is your dream job that you're working towards?
Dream job is to make my own card game. So I'm kind of using this Vanguard to learn mechanics and other stuff like that.
Right, and you play other games?
I play as many as I can get a handle.
So which are your biggest ones besides Vanguard?
Vanguard and Yu-Gi-Oh! Are pretty much my top two right now. I know how to play Magic, Pokemon. Pokemon and Magic are just way too expensive for me, though. Let's see what else. Oh, yeah, Y Schwartz, but those are just trial decks that I stick with. Will gave me some buddy fight stuff, so I need to learn how to play that too. And Chaotic. Back in the day, man, I love Chaotic.
I don't know anything about Chaotic. So
not yet.
No Force of Will, huh?
Oh, well, okay. I play Force of Will, but it's not my top.
All right. Force of Will was named after me. All right. So also with us tonight is Jack. Jack, you can introduce yourself.
Hey there. I am Jack, and being the youngest out of these 3 hosts that we kind of have here, I probably have
what age they are.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'd say probably the most experience with this game. I've been playing since set 6, because the way that America had the release schedule, they went 1, 2, 6, 3. I've been playing since set 6 came out.
Yeah, we originally did not go in the same order as Japan.
Exactly.
And then they have since synced up so that I think Japan gets things only about 1 month before we do. Is he?
Yeah, months. Yeah, they definitely, because they did that whole thing where we got set 16 and 17 as like one whole set, one big set, and to kind of like catch us up because we were really far behind. So
yeah, and of course we needed to get all the same cards as everybody else.
Exactly.
Still faces the problem that the Pokemon TCG does, where since cards come out in other countries before they come out here, people start planning decks and strategies before the cards even land in the States, which for me takes away a little bit of the fun, but not enough to keep me from playing. And Jack, what was the reason that you started playing Vanguard?
Ooh, I started playing Vanguard because I was one day at a Pokemon tournament and I saw these large people. I wouldn't say, I don't know, large, but they were playing this game, and just like the card art and like the way that the card was like designed just really intrigued me. And I was scammed into paying $20 for a stack of commons and rares. And that's how I started playing Vanguard.
Yeah.
And I've been playing ever since, yeah.
I started because my friend Kid Stark, who was a big Pokemon TCG player, he and I used to talk about this weird card game that had called Vanguard, and we would joke about Ride the Vanguard, etc. And then we were like looking at the decks on Amazon, and there was the one pink deck, which is the Sakura deck for Oracle Think Tank. And we were just joking. It's like, I want the pink deck. I think the pink deck. Well, I was like at a card shop for a Pokemon competition, and I saw the pink deck, and I bought it. And then I was like, that was just that one taste was enough to get me sucked into Vanguard and trying to learn as much about it as I can.
Yeah.
But I'm still, even though I guess I've been playing the longest out of everybody, I had a very interesting comment made to me over the weekend. One of the guys that I used to play with a long time ago, and I was, complaining about things like the Magia mechanic and the Brave mechanic, and it's like, why? It used to be so simple, ride the Vanguard, you got your power, you did your attack, and that's all. And it was like, now there's 50 million different mechanics. And he said to me, well, if you hadn't have taken 2 years off from the game, all these things were added in gradually, and we all learned about them gradually. But for you, it's all of a sudden you're getting all these new things. And I was like, yup, yes, sir, you're right.
It's better now than as they're adding in like a different mechanic for every single clan. It's better that you jumped in when you did, rather than after every single clan has their own different mechanic. That might be a little overwhelming.
Well, all the different clans had their own mechanics. I think it's just becoming more crystallized now.
Exactly.
Than it had been in the past. So our goal is to figure things out still. We're figuring ourselves out as a podcast. We have some ideas about how we're going to keep things interesting week after week. Try to have a specific topic for different months of the week, or weeks of the month, and put that in the notification. So we're thinking of doing things like have some experience podcasts where we talk about things like pre-releases, which that would be today. And then if another week, we might do a clan review or even a sub-clan review, since there's enough diversity in the sub-clans now to give value for deck building to different sub-clans. Any releases that are announced, possibly have an episode that's just about the release and any of the actual valuable cards that are coming out in that release. And then if there's anything interesting about the commons, bringing that up. And then also, if there's extra time in a month, possibly talking about the cartoon, which I think we all watch. I've already powered through the first season of Vanguard G, and now need to get caught up on Gears Crisis, so that I can be hip like all the kids. But actually, talking about the cartoon, there were two recent things that were revealed in the cartoon that had not been have not like come out in any official communications that I'm aware of. They were followed up after the cartoon aired. The first one was the relay battle, which we can go over another time. I don't think anybody's prepared to talk about how the relay battles work. But in the latest episode of the cartoon, they released a new guard mechanic. What was that called? That was like, an official name.
Yeah, there was. The way that the character announced it in the episode, she called it a G Guardian, and basically, if you haven't watched the episode, this was revealed.
It a G Guardian, or did she say, "I open my soul to the heavens and find succor from the angels in heaven with my G Guardian"?
I don't think. I don't think the community as a whole wants to say that every single time they play this kind of card, so they're just calling it G Guardian. And basically how G Guardian works is when your opponent targets you with an attack, at least this specific G Guardian, you pay the cost by discarding a heal trigger, and then you call one of these fancy new units from the G zone, not from your main deck, you call it from the G zone, and this specific one had a 15k shield. No cards have 15k printed on them, so it's like the biggest shield that's been printed on a card. We don't really know much about how this mechanic works or anything. Like, we don't know if they take up a spot and are already like really crowded, like G Zone that can only have 8 units in it originally. We don't really know if there will be different kinds depending on which trigger you discard.
Or a different cost.
Different cost depending on which trigger you discard. Yeah.
Do you know if the card looked like it had a power value as well, so that it could be used to stride, or did it look like it could only be used to guard?
Well, the anime at least, like they don't always show like the whole card. I just remember seeing a lot of green all over the card. Like the stride units have the like red kind of border. This unit had like a really like a teal kind of green kind of border.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So that's something we'll be on the lookout for, possibly in the blogs and other spaces where these announcements come out. We might find it more about the G guard. But you guys, wait. At your leagues that you go to, you don't have people who repeat the things that the characters from the cartoon say, like before they G stride?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have to write. Yeah, before you enter the tournament, you have to like submit your kind of like your chant, your call up that you have to say. It's you're binded by a contract. You have to say it before you ride your Vanguard, your main unit. Yeah.
So, what do you say, Jack?
Oh, well, I haven't been. Well, let's see.
So you haven't been to league recently enough to have your
me on the
particular
spot.
slogan.
No, this rule was just implemented recently, and I haven't been since the rule was implemented.
So you actually have that as a rule?
Oh no, not at all.
You almost had me believing you. All right, Cole, what would you call out before you ride Blonde Ezel? I don't know. Who's your grade 3?
Percival. What? Percival or Glare or Core? Just help me, Bluish Flames. You're my only hope.
And Jack, who's your grade 3?
In my current deck, the Thing Saver Dragon would be my main grade 3.
Man, I wonder what you could call out for a Thing Saver Dragon, because I think that's possibly the worst named card I've ever come across.
It's pretty bad, and it was Seeker Thing Saver Dragon, super. It's just a bunch of nouns thrown together.
Yes.
In the name, yeah.
I literally thought that Nebula Dragon, Big Crunch Dragon was because it says dragon twice is the dumbest name. But Thing Saver, that's got us beat.
Yeah, I'm sure Bushy Road, when they were coming up with the name, they just scrolled through a dictionary and just picked out random nouns and just put them all in a random order.
Yeah.
And that's how they got the name of the card.
All right. Well, I've got to think of my slogan for when I G-stride. I don't have anything yet.
Well, how about we come back next week and we'll have
go.
those and we can say them super dramatically for our fans.
All right, so for this week, we wanted to talk about the pre-release, and this week's pre-release was named, it's the second one that's Blade and Blossom, I think. What's the full name?
Yeah, Transcension of Blade and Blossom is what this set was called. It's the
Transcension?
Yeah, Transcension. Yeah, No, I think it's Transcension, not Transcension.
There's gotta be an N in there.
There is.
There is? Okay.
Yep,
cool.
Transcension of Blade and Blossom.
The set G6 GBT06 Transcension of Blade and Blossom
of the 6th release of the G era.
Yeah.
And Cole, which clans are in there? I know that Pale Moon is in there because I was pulling cards for Joe, but who else?
Yeah,
it has
Paladin, Neo Nectar, Shadow Paladin, Nova Grappler, and Grand Blue.
So everybody pulled a lot of Grand Blues and Nova Grapplers that they didn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grand Blue's also getting the trial deck as well, the same week as the set drops. So a lot of people are like looking for Grand Blue cards, I'd say.
That's true. That's true. Did you guys, you guys got the same promo? What was the promo card?
Oh gosh.
Grand Blue.
Yeah, it was a Grand Blue Banshee.
Super waifu looking Grand Blue card.
Yeah, I know people who want to play Grand Blue were asking me for those promo cards. I gave them mine away because I just never have interest in playing Grand Blue. I don't care if it has the best mechanic in the game. I don't want to play with zombie pirates. So
the last time I gave away a promo card, it jumped up to $50. So I don't think I'll be doing that ever again.
Well, yeah. Well, when we talk about my pre-release experience, let's not forget to get into that. So Cole, where did you go for pre-release?
I went to a local comic shop in my hometown, Fort Wayne, and it used to be called Clem's Collectibles, but now it's Summits Comics and Cards or something like that. Some comics and sports. Anyway, half of it is cards and comic books. The other half is sports memorabilia from like college teams, NFL, blah 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 blah. But it's pretty interesting. So it's the $5 to be just in the tournament, and you don't have to buy in to the pre-release. But if you do, it's $20. So $20, you get 6 packs, you get the promo, blah blah blah, and then you get. We don't have a draft anymore. I started going there. I think the week that they stopped doing the draft, which is interesting because I'd never done a draft and I wanted to do that, but I didn't get a chance to.
I find that very interesting because there's a guy who has been at my shop the past 2 times who keeps saying, you do your pre-releases differently than I've ever experienced. I've never seen somebody do pre-releases like this. And I watched the Pizza Box video before I ever went to any kind of Vanguard pre-release, and we do them exactly like Bushiroad wants you to do them. So I was going to ask you guys if you follow the standard pre-release format or not. So I guess you don't.
I guess we don't.
So you just get your 6 packs and you make a deck out of them?
No, actually, you don't have to do that at all. You get the 6 packs. You can make a deck out of them. You can add them to your current deck if there's anything that strikes your fancy, or you can just not use them like I usually do.
So you just get the cards.
I do just get the cards.
That is like the least amount of fun I've ever heard of at this event ever.
Well, first off, I don't get anything good, and second off, nothing goes with my deck.
Yeah, you got to put those Grand Blue promos into your Gold Paladin deck.
Yeah, that'll work.
Right. Well, I guess it was a difficult time this time around, right? Because I guess only Jack is using Royal Paladins, so
and none of the stuff we even got in this set is even good. So super fun.
So, did you have any interesting stories coming out of your pre-release, or you just opened up packs, and then played regular Vanguard?
Okay, here's the thing. So, I'm not the greatest player, and I never claimed to be, but it really stings when I go 3-0, because it's a round robin, I guess, 3 rounds, because that's all we have time for. So 3-0, and I lose by a fraction every single time. Like, they're really close, and I can never seal the deal, which is really frustrating.
What do you mean lose by a fraction? Because I mean, in this game, you pretty much win or lose. 6 damage or deck out.
5 to 5. I'd say 5 to 5 damage, and then
like 5 to 5.
Sacks a crit trigger is generally how this game is ended.
Yeah, some guy got like last second pulled a crit trigger, and we were tied 5-5, and it was going to go on to game 3 because I think I was winning that game. He won the first game. I was winning that one, and then he pulls a double crit, and he beat over my quintuple shield, I believe. And yeah, it was just like only things that would happen to me happened to me.
No, they happen to everybody. It just stings more because it's happening to you.
Yeah.
So, Jack, what's the story of your pre-release? Because I think you have a non-traditional as well.
Oh, well, so I pulled up to my local comic book / card store, and I walk in. The store was like super crowded. There was me, and there was like one other person, and so that was a lot of fun.
Wait, you only had 2 people show up for the pre-release?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So my friend who we planned to go together, and we were hoping for other people to show up. Our prayers were not answered with that one. But he's building I believe, two. He's building Grand Blue. He's building Shadow Paladins. I can't remember if he's building Neo Nectars or not. So he's building at least two of the decks that come out and are released with this set. So when he saw that there was no one else there, he just bought all of the packs. So I believe it was about $100 for all of them. And so I just helped him open packs, and then we just played a couple of games with our decks that we already owned. And yeah, he did pull. Well, I pulled for him. I pulled the Neo Nectar, the Generation Rare, the Stride for the new Blossom.
Yeah.
And he also pulled a Vortimer, Whirlwind Black Diablo Vortimer, or whatever it's called, the SP of those. So those were the notable cards. And then other than that, there's just like triple rares and double rares that weren't very notable whatsoever. So
nothing you were particularly interested in. So you had like a very quiet
well,
experience.
I wouldn't say quiet. He was screaming pretty loudly when he pulled that Vortimer SP. But
all right.
Because like I only need commas and rares from this set, and he opened in like all of the packs, and I only got like not even 50% of the cards I needed from this set, and they're all commons and rares. No, I had pack opening buzz because I pulled the SP and the GR.
Oh, okay. So you opened some packs. All right.
Yeah, no, I opened the packs, but like he didn't. None of the rares or commons I needed were pulled, so I couldn't like steal them from him.
All right. So my pre-release was, I guess, the most traditional, even though I thought it was kind of weird. So let me talk through how a traditional Bushiroad wants you to do it pre-release occurs. First off, I brought my mom because she had an emergency that she had to come to DC this weekend, and I was like, Mom, I know you're going to be here, but I got to go to the pre-release. She's like, whatever. My mom's chill that way, so she was playing Pokemon or something while she was waiting. And then I brought one guy who works on my staff who wants to learn about Vanguard, and then my buddy Joe, who plays a lot of Pokemon with me, but he wants to learn how to play Vanguard as well. So we all got there. I met up with a lot of people. They all still recognize me because our shop has a Facebook group, and I post on there regularly when I'm actually going to go, just to make sure that there's actually people who are going to show up to play Vanguard. We had
that would have been helpful.
we had 14 people show up for the pre-release. So when I think I mentioned a little earlier, pizza boxes, the way that Bushiroad ships the cards for pre-release, it's not in a standard booster box, but it is in a brown cardboard box that looks like the shape and height of a pizza box. So we had two of those. Everybody got passed out. So then we were put into pods. So the organizer actually determines who sits where. You have to actually sit in your spot. There were 2 pods of 5 and 1 pod of 4, and I was in the pod of 4. And then you get your packs. You open, these are still 5-card packs, so what happens is you open the first pack, you take out whatever trigger is in there, because there's always going to be 1 trigger in every pack, and then another card from the pack that you want to keep. Then you pass the remaining 3 to your left. You're not allowed to look at the cards that after you pull them out, you have to put them face down in front of you until you have passed to the left 3 times. Then you can look at the cards that you've pulled. Then when you open up your 4th pack, you start passing to the right. So you take 1, pass to the right, take 1, pass to the right. So just to follow how a traditional pre-release is supposed to occur, you then have a battle out of the cards that you pulled with the person who was sitting diagonally from you in the pod. I don't know how they did the 5-person pods, but since mine was the 4-person pod, it was the very traditional. You battle the person that's diagonal from you, and then the winners each play each other, the losers each play each other. Once you lose twice, you are out of the competition, and then whoever wins the most, they have a pre-release gift, which every time I've done one has been a playmat. Somebody else won the playmat. So Joe actually came in second in his pod. He almost won.
Holy cow.
This was like the first time he's ever been to a Vanguard. I hate him. And then my staff member, Alan, he did pretty well. He was just having a lot of fun, but he's an old-time Yu-Gi-Oh player. So he just like immediately went into the card game mindset, and he was like making deals. He pulled whatever the Abyss Dragon is.
The Spectral Blaster Diablo.
Yeah.
Oh, the secret rare Abyss Dragon, or the Spectral Blaster Diablo of the Stride?
I don't think it was a secret rare.
It was the Stride, right?
Maybe. Yeah, it was a Stride. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, yes. Spectral Blaster Diablo Dragon.
So since he's building Murakumos, he traded that for about 6 Murakumo cards that he needed, like 3 perfect cards and some other stuff. So he did that pretty well. So I actually pulled the GR Neo Nectar card, but I am not a greedy kind of person, and I was like, I really am only here for Pale Moon because Joe is trying to build a Pale Moon deck. So it's like there was a Pale Moon card in there. I was like, I took the Pale Moon. I passed the Neo Nectar over to the guy next to me, and he like turned it to me, and he's like, "Are you sure you want me to take it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't want it." And then I wasn't really paying attention that it was a GR. I didn't even look at the rarity. I just thought it was a grade 4. So I passed it on. So I had it in my hands and I let it go, but I don't care. I'm not in this game for greed or for like building up trade fodder. I make enough money that I can buy the cards that I want. So I don't. I'm not one of those people that's like all like shrewd and everything about making trade deals and everything. And I literally, like, one of the old guys that I used to play with told me before the match, he's like, "Oh, I want Shadow Paladins, I want Royal Paladins, so anything you pull, let me have the first look." I literally just hand him all the Shadow and Royal Paladins that I had pulled, like, when I was done. I just gave them to him. And then I said, if you ever come across any Link Jokers or anything like that you think I can use, then just give them to me. That's fine, and we'll be square. So, I mean, that was it. I lost pretty rapidly. So I think we'll probably touch on this more in the future, but the DC, Maryland, Virginia Vanguard scene is highly competitive. And there are people in this area that, do a lot of training towards regional competitions and everything like that. And they travel up to New York and everything. So a lot of the folks that I have to play against are not so kind to the casual player, and I lose fast, but I still enjoy myself, and building my Messiah deck, we'll see if I can start to get better once I get used to actually using that deck. All right, anybody have anything else to say about pre-releases for this week?
Okay, so you guys actually pulled something decent from your packs. No, not a single person that I knew pulled anything above a double R.
I wonder if your shop was weighing packs. I've always wondered if weighing packs actually works in Vanguard.
The thing is with these, like, all the packs are like, they should, the way they're shipped out in the pizza box kind of thing, it's like 5 or 6 packs like wrapped around, like
it's
there's like a piece of plastic.
Clear plastic.
Yeah. There's like a set. Weird. There's like a set amount of stacks of them. But like the thing is, like with a box, you're guaranteed to get 3 triple rares, I believe 6 double rares, and then whatever other hollows you're allotted, like if you get SPs or GRs. But with the pizza boxes, they just send out random packs, so there's no like guarantee to get any amount of hollows.
Yeah, so you're actually better. You have more luck getting
a box.
Boxes. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Also, Will,
you gotta say booster box.
Yeah, booster box.
Also, Will, the thing I wanted to ask you said the first place gets the mat, but I know that the pizza boxes themselves come with 2 mats. Do you know what your store does with that other mat?
It was 1 mat per pod.
Is it 1 mat? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, per pod, because there's 2 pods. Oh, okay. Yeah. I got you now.
So every winner of each pod got a mat.
Oh, okay. Mine does a random. Everyone who enters, the shop owner will roll a die, and then whoever's got that number gets that extra mat.
Yeah, someday I dream of getting a Vanguard mat to play. I use a old Vanillux Pokemon podcast play mat from many years ago.
I've got my Gumi mat. I love my Gumi mat.
I don't know what it is about people in Fort Wayne and Gumi, but we'll have to figure that out later.
I like Gumi.
All right, let's. So one of the other things that we're planning on doing on the podcast to kind of help people who are learning about Vanguard, there is a lot of terminology in Vanguard, so we're going to try to do a definition of the week, explain what it actually means, and try to help people understand it as best as possible. And we may have to do research ourselves because some of these terms are still hard for us to understand. But I think for our first term of the week, we've picked something relatively easy, and that is Vanguard. And what is the Vanguard?
It's a mutual fund.
Well, that is true. That is where I have my retirement. But we are not talking about the Vanguard mutual funds right now. So,
the dictionary defines the Vanguard as the soldiers or ships that are at the front of a fighting force that is moving forward. And that's like used in like military, that kind of thing. For this game, in the lore of the card game, you kind of like are transported to the world of Cray, and you take the form of the Vanguard, like the main unit, and you call your other rear guards to help you in your battle to fight for the planet of Cray.
Yeah. So for a standard Vanguard setup, there are 3 columns. Right? Yeah. Left, right, and middle. And then the front card in the middle column is the Vanguard, which is placed on, conveniently enough, the Vanguard circle. And the Vanguard, as you raise your grade by riding on the Vanguard circle, whatever card is face up there is your current Vanguard. I know I've had somebody refer to me as their Forerunner card is their Vanguard. It's no, it's just whatever is face up on the Vanguard circle is your current Vanguard. And the Vanguard is the most important card in your layout because attacks on other cards solely remove those cards from the field if you cannot protect them. Attacks on the Vanguard, if you cannot protect them, take damage. And as you learn about this game, 6 damage means you're out. Unless there's some weird mechanic I haven't heard of yet that says you can take more than 6 damage, but I'm pretty sure still 6 damage and you're out.
Well, there's other play like ways of play that go beyond 6 damage, but we're not going to get into that right now.
Oh, like double fights and stuff like that?
Yeah, like relay fights and like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, anything else about the Vanguard, Cole? You want to add?
Let's see. I can't think of anything right now.
All right, Jack.
You have to say a super dramatic and like planned out speech as you ride your Vanguard.
Only when you ride a grade 3 or when you do a generation stride.
Although, fun fact, it is against like when you first stand up your Vanguard, like when you start a game, you turn your starter unit face up while it's face down. Before you start the game, you turn it face up. It is required by the rules of official Bushiroad tournaments to say, stand up the Vanguard.
You stand up the Vanguard, yep.
You have to say that.
I refuse.
Well, then you'll never be going to official competitions because your opponents will call you out. Much like once at a Pokemon competition, even though I had won the match, one of my opponents called me out because I did not declare which attack I was using, and it was a Pokemon that only had 1 attack.
Oh.
All right, so your Vanguard is your main card, and I think culturally in the world of Vanguard, we usually identify with our grade 3 or highest level Vanguard that we're going to use in our deck. And most decks are built around getting building a scenario where your grade 3 can do the most damage or work most effectively. All right, so that is everything that we have to discuss this week. Next week, we are going to talk about the Dragonic Overlord, the Legend deck, I believe.
The Legend deck. The original Legend deck that came out was called the Dark. This one is called the Blaze. The Overlord Blaze Legend deck. It's the one centered around Kai and the Kagero clan.
So we'll be talking about that next week, talking about the cards that are in that deck and how the strategy is built around that deck. So that will be all of the Drive Check podcast for this week. I want to say thanks to SBJ for helping us get everything set up and in motion. Thanks to Nicholas Burgess, who has given us the music that we're using for intro and outro. And I think he'll be giving us some more music over time to pepper the podcast with some more interesting noises. And then I can be reached on Twitter at WashinTheSink, WashinTheSink. Cole, I believe you have set up a Twitter account now?
Yes, about an hour ago. And it is at COLE_MCCUNE.
So
that's
your
my
last
whole
name
name.
would be McCune?
Yep, that is exactly how you pronounce that.
And Jack has had a wardrobe failure in his Twitter account, so he's going to have to come up in one.
I'll have that for you guys next week.
For this occasion, he'll have that ready for next week. All right.
Yep.
And Jack, you want to take us out?
Yeah, thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of the Drive Check podcast. And that's a wrap.